Morning, Glory, America. Bonjour, hi, Canada. Hugh Hewitt live from Studio West, about to return to the Commonwealth next week, where Governor Glenn Youngkin will continue a very good run as the Commonwealth's new governor. Good morning, Governor Youngkin. Welcome back to the Hugh Hewitt Show.
Hey, good morning, Hugh. It's great to have your radio audience in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We are cooking. There's a lot of great stuff happening, and I'm looking forward to today. You know, today we're doing a groundbreaking for the Lego Group as they start construction of their only U.S. manufacturing facility in Virginia, $1 billion, 1,700 jobs. It is a great step for the Commonwealth.
That is a big deal. 1,700, those are going to be good jobs working for Lego. And the demand isn't going down anywhere. If I'm judging by my grandchildren, the demand is going to be very high for a long time. Governor, I want to begin by asking you, I don't know the answer to this. Litigators rarely ask questions they don't know. But I assume you have been to the People's Republic of China a few times because of your leadership of the Carlyle Group, at least a few times. Am I right?
I have been there, and I tell you, during the time that I was at Carlyle and today, it has changed a lot. And you know, you see just the the imperialistic economic view they're taking around the world, and on top of that, their aggressive military actions towards Taiwan. And it's why I was so pleased that we were able to pass legislation on a bipartisan basis to protect our agriculture from acquisition by entities owned by the Chinese Communist Party. We were able to ban TikTok and WeChat. And listen, at the end of the day, I'm just going to make sure that Virginia isn't using taxpayer money in order to facilitate gains by companies that are benefiting the Chinese Communist Party.
Now, Governor Youngkin, you have done a very unusual thing. You brought a lot of talented people to Richmond with you. You did the brain trust thing that FDR did at the start of the New Deal. You brought a bunch of talented people. Have you stood up a group to look at the consequences to the Commonwealth in the event of a world crisis with China, the sort that would follow an invasion of Taiwan, which would mean rapid and disruptive decoupling and indeed confrontation with China to the United States?
Well, we have gone through an extensive effort to see what would happen if we ended up with Chinese supplies that were interrupted. We've gone through an effort to make sure that we understand what would happen if the international financial systems came under huge duress and what that would mean for Virginia. And, you know, the good things about our Commonwealth are, one, we have the strongest financial condition that we have had ever, with huge reserves, and we're running a $3.6 billion surplus on top of having cut $4 billion in taxes and given rebates last year. And so, you know, the key here is that we have a strong financial balance sheet. We have a strong set of receipts and companies here that are driving jobs in the economy. And while our global economy, the United States and China, are very intertwined, you know, the idea that we could have a massive interruption to that, which will reverberate around the world and will be felt, I think Virginia is very well positioned should that happen.
Yeah, I'm very glad to hear that. I don't think many governors have thought that through, but we're kind of 1913, 1914 world right now. So I originally asked you to come on, and now I want to turn to it. If that happens, we're going to have to surge shipbuilding. The largest shipyard in the United States is in Virginia, Newport News. Not many people know that. That's where they build the Ford class. But you're like shipbuilding central. How are you preparing to surge shipbuilding in the event that this world crisis actually accelerates the need for our Navy's upgrade immediately?
Well, at the heart of it is workforce. And one of the biggest constraints in overall construction activity at Newport News Shipbuilding, which you're right, is the largest shipbuilder in the United States and supplies our Navy with submarines and aircraft carriers and other critical military weapon systems. Biggest issue we have is workforce, and that's why we have been doubling down on building the workforce of the future. I was just at the apprenticeship school graduation a few weeks back, which was the largest class that has graduated from the Newport News Shipbuilding Apprenticeship School. These are the future shipbuilder leaders in America. But this is one of our giant challenges. We also have supply chain challenges that they're dealing with. And at the end of the day, we need to build our capacity across America, and particularly in Newport News. And it starts with people. And that's why we're making such a huge investment in the Commonwealth in unlocking the potential of Virginians to play a part in this enormously important industry. One of the things that I'm really proud of is we recently cut a ribbon on a new advanced welding training center that feeds the Navy in Danville. We've now started to merge the lines between high school and community colleges with apprenticeships and credentialing for these most important trades. And of course, we're recruiting like crazy. We just passed a great bill that I signed that took 85 job categorizations in Virginia and gave them universal licensing. If you've got a license in another state in so many of the trades, come to Virginia, and you can go to work right away.
Governor, this matters so much because industrial capacity is always what matters in a world crisis. We used to have it. I'm not sure we have it anymore. Do you think Newport News and the surrounding shipyard, you're preparing the people to go to work there, and that's fabulous. I didn't know about that. But can the shipyard expand quickly if you have to?
Well, there are real challenges, and let's just be clear. They have full backlogs for years and years to come, and yet they're behind, and they're behind for all the reasons that manufacturing has struggled over the last number of years: supply chains and workforce. And so this is why our focus from the Virginia standpoint is to drive innovation and to drive workforce. And there's super management at Newport News Shipbuilding. I'm deeply, deeply impressed with the leadership there in order to carry on this legacy, which has been in the heart of our national defense since the very first naval deployments.
Now, we have an infrastructure bill and we have the CHIPS Act. Has any of that money flowed into Virginia for related industries that would help with the shipbuilding surge or chip surge? Because you're going to Taiwan, South Korea, and Singapore. Very smart moves. I hope you get Taiwan Semiconductor to build something in the Commonwealth. But are you laying out not an industrial policy, that's got bad connotations, but thinking ahead with some experts on what happens if the shoe drops?
Well, first of all, Hugh, this is all the entire effort behind the CHIPS Act and the infrastructure bills, aside from being chocked full of a whole bunch of extraneous stuff that was driving a political agenda. But there's a real focus on reshoring the supply chains for critical industries in America. And Virginia started with the pharmaceutical industry, and so our pharmaceutical cluster, which has really been at the heart of bringing home critical active ingredients in the pharmaceutical chain to Virginia out of China, has been critical. We now are very focused on bringing capabilities from our semiconductor industry to Virginia, and we have seen movement across the country, and that's one of the reasons why I'm going to Taiwan next week, is to make sure that we are playing the kind of role that Virginia should play with our extraordinary universities and research capabilities. And on top of that, this workforce. I mean, we have the home to many of their customers in the defense industrial establishment. Micron is here, but we can expand beyond that. And I'm excited about having a chance both in Taiwan and Japan and Korea.
Now, your friend, former governor of Arizona, Doug Ducey, and your friend, current governor of Ohio, won the CHIPS first round by getting Intel to build in Arizona and Ohio. Have you talked with them about how you get Taiwan Semiconductor to come to Virginia? Because it makes a lot of sense. It's got water and people and universities and a governor who's open to business. I mean, have you talked to them about how to land such a investment?
You bet we have. And I think Virginia has an extraordinary offering. And so, yeah, I have done the work to make sure that Virginia is going to be best positioned to attract this next round of investment. And we should be attracting this next round of investment. We've seen it in the pharmaceutical industry. We're seeing it really aggregate around the semiconductor industry, particularly around the supply chains for semiconductors, the research and development into semiconductors and all material sciences associated with it. But on top of that, the ability to scale fast with the kind of workforce people want. Virginia is incredibly well located. One of the great aspects of Virginia is with our port, which is we're in the middle of a $1.8 billion expansion effort at our port. We were rated the most efficient port in America last year, and it will be the deepest and the widest when we finish this effort on the East Coast. And so This is part of why we're seeing so much interest in Virginia from companies around the world and around the United States, but particularly in this critical sector that is going to be the future of America's national security, I believe, in these key industries.
I think you were right. That's why I'm glad you were the governor. Governor Glenn Youngkin, thank you. Safe travels to Taiwan, South Korea, and Singapore. Look forward to getting a debriefing from you when you return. Thank you, Governor Glenn Youngkin.